Everyone, hi. Bruce Mufson, LCSW, coming at you with another clinical breakdown. Again, we're doing Mac Miller and the song from his album that came out, years after, unfortunately, his passing. And what's fascinating about these songs, the next several songs from the last album, is to me, there's a theme to all of them, a theme that kind of arises. And as always, I'm only going to break down the parts that I find clinically significant. And before we begin, just kind of clarifying again, we're starting to get the comments coming in, which is great. People say how much they enjoy the breakdowns. We want you to sign up. We want you to sign up on the group package, which is $75 a month. You will get me for 1 hour a week, if not more. But even more important, you get a chance to ask me about specific mental health questions that are pertaining to you. And you'll find that you'll get what you need, what you want to hear, and what you need to understand. Okay, here we go. This song is the 9th song on the album, Balloonerism, and it's called Funny Papers. Now, when I get the lyrics, I get it from genius.com. And sometimes at the very beginning of the song, they give you sometimes they'll give you a synopsis of the song, sometimes not. But in this case, I want to read this off. And here's how it goes. The term funny papers gives a sense of simplicity that is reciprocated in the song. The sentiment comes full circle as Mac asks, why does it matter at all? Towards the end, Mac nods to the intrinsic truth that everything we deal with in life is temporary, while not everything will be simple. That's a great breakdown, so I wanted to include it, give kudos. And that's the truth about life in itself, and you understand that. Make the most of it, because life is temporary, and not everything in life is going to be simple, and you're going to eat a lot of shrapnel. And listen, I'm going to be 62 in about a month, and I can speak to that with a complete 100% truth. Life is temporary. It's not that I'm like 62 and, oh my God. It's like more of my life has passed and more of my life is going to continue. And what have I accomplished? And if I can say anything, is that life has not been easy for me, and it never is. The more you understand that, the more you take that into account, the more you're going to realize, make the most of your time and don't waste it with self-destructive actions. That's the most depression I can get from these things, is that kind of perspective. Don't waste your time. And the next song, this one, Funny Pages, to me, really the theme is depression/suicide is what comes out. And feeling like, I don't know where I'm coming from to a certain extent. So here we go. In the intro, he goes, did no one ever teach you how to dance? No one ever taught you how to dance? Well, everyone knows how to dance. There's only so much time. He's talking to his fans via the lyrics, and he does that so well. And he's saying, you have to know how to get down to get the basics in life before it's too late. Who doesn't know how to dance? Even if you're terrible at dancing, it's your own sense of style and who you are. But only so much time is referring to himself. I'm running out of time in my own life. So much I wanted to do and will never get to it. And that's the theme a lot in this song, is a feeling of whoa, I'm running out of time. In verse 1, that was in the intro. In verse 1, he's talking about recently divorced, was drunk, driving down the highway, and drove off the bridge to his wedding song. He's talking about a guy who just came out of work. And he goes like this. He goes, you start to realize, and I learned this myself, you're not invincible. And actions have consequences, and mistakes do catch up with you. Again, I was feeling he was talking about himself in his own life. What have I accomplished? What have I achieved? I became this fantastic star that's known around the world. Millions of people wonder what I do all with my life, my day. Who am I? Am I really happy? And you start to get the feeling from these songs and from the lyrics and how he's describing it that Mac wasn't happy. He was an unhappy guy. He goes in the next line, still on verse 1, he goes, recently, I only meet peace when in deep sleep. I can't handle being awake, because being awake is too uncomfortable. It's too much work. It's too much stress. I'm exhausted. I have to be out of it, and I'm only happy when I'm high. I only meet peace when in deep sleep, deep sleep. Not even a regular sleep. I got to be passed out because I'm not happy in my own skin. I'm not happy who I am. I'm not happy with fandom. I'm not happy being a star. I'm lonely. I'm insecure. What friends do I really have? Who am I? So you start to see where his thought process is going to and where it's coming from. And let me just say this again, because I've said this before about some of his earlier work. Listen, he wasn't my patient. I wasn't working with him, so I'm not going to make any claims. I didn't know the guy, obviously. But if I'm hearing these lyrics and he would be under my care on some level, I would say to him, are you okay? Is everything all right? Are you doing okay? Who do you talk to? Who's your friendship circle? How often do you see your parents? Who's your best two friends? Are they out here with you? Who do you have? Is it just a jerky crew that takes advantage of you to get them drugs and give them money to tell you how wonderful you are? Like a poser? When I'm doing counseling to people, you get people who say this, I don't want to say every time, I'm good, but I'm not God. Oh, Bruce, you changed my life. You saved my life. You're amazing. Without you, I don't know where I would have been. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm always like, whoa, you did the heavy work. I just pushed you in the right direction. That's it. None of that hero worship. I don't want to hear that. A lot of therapists get into that. Really? Really? How did I do that? Me? Little old me? I never do that. I always say the same thing. You did all the heavy work. I just pushed you in the right direction. You put the effort in. I don't need that. I know who I am. I'm comfortable in my own skin. But he's telling you he's not. And I think this makes it so relatable to his fans who feel the same way, many of them in their own lives. Going a little further down, he talks about a birth of a young child, and the child's name is Gabriel, and this is from verse 2. And 11 pounds named after his Uncle Gabriel. Uncle Gabriel, you don't know the kid's name. And his mother is crying, and he goes, "Why?" He's going like this. Why'd she bring these bright eyes into this dark place? That's all of us. You're not as pure as when we get older. A little child, my manager / producer, he's had small children, and they're beautiful, gorgeous little things. You just want to hug and kiss them. And they're so innocent. And when they come over to you, they run to you. You tease them, you tickle them. They start to laugh. There's no subterfuge. But we get older, and that snow that we're born under starts to get dirty because we see things in a different light. I know I did when I was young. 3, 4, I started to realize how dysfunctional my family was. So you want that innocence, but you only can hold on to it. It's like holding water for so long before it just slips out of your hand. And there's a expression in the beginning of the movie Platoon. It's an old movie about Vietnam, and it's from a Castellistes, and it goes, the first casualty of war is innocence. And the first casualty of life is awareness. When you start to realize that things are not what they were supposed to be, where things are different. Another expression, and I think about this with my producer, and who and I went on like dozens, hundreds of calls to people's homes. We saw enough that it's like we have a belly full of bitter. The things that we experience, the things that happened to us directly, where things weren't normal, things weren't right, and we had to step in on ways we never anticipated. And this is what starts to happen. Why do we start this channel? Because honestly, we want to create something different. Get away from the mediocre that's out there. Get away from the insurance companies, get away from the mediocrity of most mental health treatment, which I feel is substandard and not even really all that amazing at all. And we saw this, and we said, let's do something different to relate to people using music as a bridge. And from that, create a whole army, a whole entity, a whole movement of getting better on praise that are actually practical and realizable. That's even a word. And just going forward. That's why we created the channel. And that's what we came with the idea of, let's people join for a nominal fee, not the insane prices that insurance is turning into, and get something out of it. A little further down, the line goes, take one for depression and two for your temper. Again, talking to himself. I always need something in my system. And you know what the realization of using anything that's self-destructive, it's a way of not dealing with life. Because when you use, you don't have to deal. You don't have to be held accountable. You don't have to have a focus and a day and get things accomplished. Here's another point too. He goes in verse 3, I blew the blank up, then became the world's problem. You'd think it'd be the opposite. You know, I blew up. I'm amazing. I sell out stadiums, arenas. Then I became the world's problem. I became a success beyond my wildest dreams. The world's obsessed with me over anything that I do, but I can't hide. What he's really saying is, get me out of here. I didn't bargain for this. Walking out to the stage, I feel metaphorically naked. I don't know who I am. I know who I'm not, and I know this is not who I am. And I'm not able to hold it together. I became the world's problem. And then finally, he goes, because when the snakes start slithering, you spot the chameleons. You realize you surrounded by reptilians. There's a reason why he makes the reference to snakes. When you're around snakes, you're going to get bit. You're going to get nailed. You're going to get hit with the venom. It's done deliberately. This is who we felt he was surrounded by. Everyone is swirling around me. I hear the slithering in the grass. I see those tongues flicking back and forth, and I know I'm going to be lunch because I don't have anybody in my corner. Everyone's a snake. Here's a guy on the top of the world, and he's recognizing he's being chewed up bit by bit, and it's getting worse, not better. There are so many references, and in the outro, why does it matter at all? Because everything we deal with life is temporary. While not everything will be simple. Why does it matter? Yeah, because when you realize life is temporary and not everything is going to be simple, you get a little bit hard, get a little bit more focused, and you start doing things. There are so many references, in my opinion, to himself and what he was struggling with, which is likely depression and feelings of being all alone and having no one in his life he could turn to, you know, as a true friend and backup system. He was talking about himself feeling suicidal. Let me share 3 points about suicide, because this is what this song really struck me as. Number 1, last United States alone, there's roughly 50,000 suicides. And as I've said before, that number is way, way, way underreported. It's probably 3 times that amount. Number 2, listen to the language that someone in your circle is sharing with you. To me, there's reference after reference after reference. I want to die. I'm not happy. I don't feel good about myself. And finally, don't ignore it. Act on it and say something. Are you all right? Are you okay? You don't seem to be your usual self. Don't just sit there in oblivion. And you know what? That's what happens when you don't have a true friend, when you don't have a true support system. Hey, Bruce, you don't look like your normal self. You're talking kind of weird. You're kind of isolating. Is everything okay? This song to me, even though it's called obviously Funny Papers, the real theme to me was suicide. Be aware, be aware, be aware. This is what we're trying to provide via our channel, SUNRIDGE, Nevada. Check us out. Thank you.